Hi, Regina Mahoney, City Manager of the City of Essex Junction. We are here today to do essentially a preview of what folks might see on the ballot on April 14th. So this is prior to finalizing everything that goes on the annual meeting ballot. So the City Council is interested in getting folks' feedback now before things get finalized. So first up here is we have the proposed FY27 budget. So essentially it is a 4.1% budget increase over FY26. What that means for an average household is $119 per year higher in the next fiscal year. We also have some very preliminary numbers on what the utility rates are going to look like as well, so people can kind of get a full picture of what the impact might be. As of right now, we are predicting that may be roughly about $217. Okay. So, looking a little bit further into the proposed budget, this is what the expense categories look like. The biggest expense category is public safety. That's where you'll find the police budget, Essex Rescue, and fire in that category. Then we come down to general government. That's administration, clerks, and finance, IT, assessing. Then we come down to public works. That's the street and sanitation folks, and then sort of moves down from there. Then this is our proposed revenues for the FY27 budget. So essentially, about 76% of our property taxes come from residential properties, 10% from business properties, 8% miscellaneous, so that's where we see some clerk fees coming in and community development fees. And then Global Foundries here in Essex Junction, that makes up 6% of the property tax. So important note for folks is we are currently doing a reappraisal, and so how this shakes out in FY27 may change. The percentages of what's commercial versus what's residential might change when that reappraisal comes out. Should we pause or keep going? Okay. All right. Okay, so this year we are also anticipating a number of different ballot questions for folks in Essex Junction. So these three boards are from the governance committee. So when the village became a city, we had a new city charter, and that city charter required that a governance committee was put together within 3 years of becoming a city to look at some of the factors that were not considered when the village government switched over to the city government. So the governance committee looked at things like a strong mayor system, a weak mayor system, setting up districts, a number of different things, city council term limits, and all sorts of stuff. So we have a governance committee report. This was presented to the council a couple of months ago, and what has come out of that are the only recommendations from that governance committee. And the first three really are around city council stipends. And so the first is a question about increasing the city council stipends from $2,500 to $3,600. The second is acknowledging the extra level of work that the council president puts in. And so this question is about whether the council president should get 25% more than the base stipend. Then this question is, how does this stipend get adjusted over time? And so currently the council does, in their budget work, they identify the council stipend. As I said, right now it's $2,500. Then that goes to the voters with the full budget. This is recommending that instead of the council having to make that decision on a year-to-year basis, it can be adjusted by the consumer price index as we move along. Then, over here, we have the next question that actually came out of the governance committee suggestions. So this question is asking, should the charter be looked at least once every 12 years? So this would sort of codify that into the charter to make sure that the community is really taking a look and just seeing if there's any adjustments that should be made to the governance structure going forward. So that's what that question is. Yeah. All right. So moving on, totally different topic. This question is about whether to accept postmarks as on-time payment for property tax payments. Currently, the city charter is silent on time and method of delivery, and so we revert to state statute. State statute says that postmarks should be accepted as timely payments. With some operational changes happening at the U.S. Postal Service, not everything gets a postmark anymore, and it gets a postmark at sort of a different time than it used to. So we have moved away from accepting postmarks on the utility payment side in the city, and so this question is asking voters whether to no longer accept postmarks on tax payments as well. Then, also totally separate topic, back when the village was a part of the town, through the town budget, the village participated in social service organization grants. Since we have been a city, we have not had that program for ourselves on the city side. This question will be a question to voters asking if they would like to set up such a program, and if so, would they like to fund it with a 1-cent tax to support that granting effort. The concept is modeling the process that the town still follows today. The town of Essex still follows today. Okay, so 2 more questions to go. This one is regarding lead service line inventories. So the federal drinking water rules changed a number of years ago to require water service providers to investigate lead service lines to ensure whether there was lead in those service lines. The voters in Essex Junction approved a loan amount for the first phase of this project in 2023, and we now need to do another level of investigation. And so essentially, this is a almost $900,000 loan that we would be going after. Because that's debt, we need to ask the voters to do that. Thankfully, this loan has some loan forgiveness. So we wouldn't actually need to pay back the full $900,000. We would be paying back closer to $400,000. This is also as worst case scenario, it may not cost this much to actually do the work, but that's what that is about. Then this is the last question. We have a public works facility in Essex Junction that is parts of it well over 80 years old. It is really not sufficient for a variety of reasons. We have a lot of expensive equipment that we store in there, and we don't have the proper cleaning mechanisms to handle that equipment. It's grossly inadequate for the staff that are working out of that facility, especially when they are working long overnight hours. So this question is to the voters to ask if they are willing to incur an obligation bond at about $13.5 million for a new public works facility in Essex Junction. And this poster over here shows roughly what that concept plan is. And you can kind of see a little bit The underneath photo are the buildings that are there now. This is the water building. There's a garage building under there. There's a shed building back here that's pretty much falling apart. Our salt shed is here. This is recommending that we expand that salt shed, especially as folks know this year in particular. We are really looking to try to get more salt in the summer so that we are not scrambling in the winter time. And then on the top are the white buildings that we are proposed for the new concept. So essentially the office space would be here. This would be a much larger garage to store the vehicle equipment in it. There's two components to that. This building down here would also include a wash bay and would conceptually, we're thinking this would be set up as a starting place so that the super sucker, which is a very expensive piece of equipment that needs to stay warm, could hang out in there during the renovation process. And then we'd have some other covered storage of some of the other materials that they've got on site. And that's about it. So it is a lot of questions. We're really trying to get the word out now so folks have plenty of time to think through this, suggest any edits or comments to the City Council before they finalize all of this on March 11th. Then the ballots will be printed, and annual meeting day is on April 14th.
I'm Chris Ewan, the Community Development Director at the City of Essex Junction. And one of the events that I'd like to share is happening next week. So Essex Junction has been selected as a development-ready community, development-ready community partner with the state of Vermont. And one of the events that we're working on right now is called 802 Homes. So the state of Vermont is trying to design and create a set of building drawings. These are template home designs that can be replicated throughout Vermont. These are going to be buildings that fit into the Vermont architectural vernacular, and the idea is that we will test fit some of these test designs in the City of Essex Junction's home properties here. So come join us next week at EJRP at 4 p.m. This is going to be February the 7th at 4 p.m. to be part of this.